talked about now. So the next thing which we are going to look at, how did this come in so fast? Android was not heard maybe 5 years back. It was not popular 2 to 3 years back, but last 2 to 3 years Android has been rising just like anything. So was it really started by Google? Actually not. This was started by a startup based out of California, which the startup itself was called Android, which was later acquired by Google. And Google had a vision which was already a leader in search and LBS capabilities. LBS is location-based services. And Google wanted to take these capabilities to the exploding market of mobile devices. That was the reason Google thought to acquire Android and did by really opening it up. Later into together and decided to take care of Android. If you would like to have a peek in to the kind of companies which are already part of Open Handset Alliance, which is supporting Android, so you can have a brief look at this, which tells you that major companies
Hello, your voice is breaking a lot.
are already part of the
We can't hear anything. Your voice is breaking.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, it seems much better now. Please go ahead. We can't hear you. Your voice is not coming at all now. Can you please check the micro settings?
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible now. Please continue. Thanks.
Okay, great. Yeah. Sorry for this delay. I think there was some connectivity issue. So, okay, this is what Android has done to smartphone market in last couple of years. If you look at 2010, Android has a contribution of only 26%, but if we look at the last year, this has grown to 43%. So this is in brief gives us a snapshot that what Android has done to smartphone market, why Android has been picking up so fast. Okay, now we understand what Android is, what has Android done in last couple of years. Now we are going to understand uh, the architecture of the Android. Okay, yeah, this is the architecture of Android. If you look at it, it is a stack of layers which shows at the bottom of it as Linux kernel. As we have already seen that Linux kernel is based on 2.6. On top of it we have got libraries shown in green color, which are actually native libraries developed in C and C++. These are the libraries which expose the capabilities through application framework, which are in turn used by the applications. So the key thing which application framework is doing here is to enable reuse of various components. So libraries expose these capabilities for application framework, which enables reuse of those components. One of the critical component added by Android is Android runtime. We also spoke very brief about Dalvik Virtual Machine earlier. Dalvik Virtual Machine is part of Android runtime, which has been optimized by Android for mobile devices. And along with Dalvik Virtual Machine, Android runtime contains core libraries, which essentially provide a substantial subset of Java 5 standard edition, which includes your collections, IO, etc., everything. So at the bottom we have got Linux kernel, we have got native libraries and Android runtime. On top of it we have got application framework, and on top of it we have got the applications. Some of the key applications are already provided by Android, like contacts, browser, and there are a lot more which are all getting developed and developed daily. So this briefs about the basic architecture of Android. Now we will dig deeper and understand all of these layers in more detail. So if you look at the Linux kernel, which is at the bottom of the stack, it essentially uses Linux 2.6 kernel, and it utilizes the core services, for example, security, memory management, process management, network stack, and driver model from this kernel straight away. And this kernel has got some enhancements which are done as part of Android, like low memory killer, which essentially means when we are developing applications, we don't need to bother much about memory. Android manages the memory of the whole system based on some priority which is taken care, and it also has enhanced the power management. The next thing which we looked on top of Linux kernel is native libraries, which are C and C++ libraries exposing various capabilities through Android application framework. As part of native libraries, we have libc, which is a standard C library tuned for embedded devices. It has got SGL and OpenGL, which are there for 2D and 3D. There is a typo mistake. is 2D and 3D graphics support. SGL is nothing but the people who are from graphics background. It's scalable graphics library, or it's also called Skia graphics library. So this gives the underlying 2D graphics engine, and if we are really interested in the code part of it, we can find most of these APIs in android.graphics.dryable. And OpenGL is to support the 3D graphics, which is based on OpenGL 1.0. So these libraries either use hardware 3D accelerators if they are available, or they use the highly optimized software rasterizers. Then we have FreeType, which is used for bitmap and vector font rendering. SQLite, which is a very lightweight relational database engine. Then an important component manages access to display subsystem. So the key thing of Surface Manager is to seamlessly composite 2D and 3D graphics. So we have got libwebcore, which is a modern web browser engine. With web browser, it actually gives us an embeddable web view which can be used in apps. We have got media libraries which are based on Packet Video's OpenCore. So these libraries support playback as well as recording of many popular audio and video formats like MPEG-4, H.264, MP3, etc. Then we have SSL, which is Secure Sockets Layer Cryptographic Protocol for secure internet communications. So these native libraries, as part of application developer, we may not interact directly, but having a knowledge of them helps us to understand better our applications. This is the Android runtime, which contains Dalvik virtual machine, which actually runs optimized file format .dex. So this does not work on Java bytecode, although all the application development at the top layer is done in Java, but it does not work on Java bytecode. It does one more level of optimizations and generate Dalvik bytecode. So the normal, when we are working with Java applications, we have got java.class and .jar files, which are compiled to .class using Java compiler. So one additional thing which happens in Android is gives us another output .dex, which is Dalvik executable format. So this supports multiple virtual machine processes per device. To achieve this, if we have to have multiple virtual machine processes per device, memory is one of the big constraints. So Dalvik executable or DEX format is optimized for Android. If you have 10 different applications, you got to have 10 different processes in general, and every application runs in its own process. And every process has got its own, relies on the same Linux kernel for underlying functionality. For example, you need threads, you need low-level memory management. For all that, it is still going to depend on Linux kernel. Then we have core APIs. We already had a brief discussion based on Java 5 standard edition. So these are written in Java. So now till now we see we had native libraries, even DVM was native, but in case of core APIs, these are written in Java as we have in application framework or in case of applications. So this gives us various data structures, file access, network access, or graphic support. Okay, so now we reach to application framework, that component which most of the applications